Hello, YouTube. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. I do appreciate it. Today's date, April 4th, 2011. I decided to document some of my thoughts in regards to the subject of interracial dating. After being a party to a group of women, a fairly large group of women that were varied in ethnicity and age, most of the conversation appeared to be about two topics: men and interracial dating. So, of course, I thought it would be a perfect opportunity to learn something, and they didn't appear to have an issue with me listening in as they spoke freely. This encouraged me to do some thinking on my own, and I felt that time that I returned to my residence that maybe it would be wise to document some of my thoughts, that maybe I would share it with you, or maybe I would review it later and see if I considered my thoughts to still be relevant. So, where to begin? I will just assume that you'll listen to this video, so I'll speak in a different manner than I would if I was journaling to myself. So, where to begin? I have always appeared to have insight into some of these subtle and impetuous moves made by people. It was not until I entered the dating arena that I encountered several different challenges. Challenges that were constructed by other people, barriers that I had to hurdle over in order to achieve my goal. The first was arrogance, commonly found in those who wanted to mark you as a traitor if you opposed the rules of ethnic practices. The second, furtive behaviors. This one is often displayed when the party you are interested in believes that you are inept due to a lack of education, difference in culture, or reported stereotypical weaknesses in gender. The third is dressed in the clothing of emotional pathologies. Normally, the one that you are interested in here has many different bones in their closet, or has appeared to have drank the Jim Jones concoction, which has assisted in thoroughly indoctrinating them regarding some of the well-rehearsed and often spoke about stereotypical expectations to be greeted upon when entering into a interracial experience. But the consuming of this toxic liquid has indeed rendered them to what appears to be an irreversible loss of brain function. What a shame, what a shame. Some people are extremely passionate when involving themselves in a heated discussion in regards to homogeneous makeup in couplings and their promotions of it. They seem to be very, very fired up in making sure that the world knows that this is the only way to go, or the preferred way to go. I think they have a point, except I do not find the lowest common denominator to be one of genetics and culture. The point that I think that they have is that it is the way to go for some people, and that for people of a certain mindset or who have certain priorities, this is appropriate for them. Their failings is that if you see differently, you are in opposition to them at their very core. However, it is understandable why many are plagued with this particular mindset. Archaic programming is a popular reason in them seeing themselves as their body. Of course, the difficulty in overcoming this is because it seems the vast majority of people have thoroughly integrated who they are as a result of their genetics. I say this is an important part, but we are only addressing a degree of reality. So when you look at the interracial dating throwdown, it is mainly about power. See, power is supposedly within numbers due to the reinvigorating of the group via reproduction. Next, we have politics, what one can achieve with said kinship or affiliation. And lastly, we have body identification and all that orbits it. Common experience and assaults from the in-group always add to the difficulty found in external and internal challenges felt by members of the out-group. Now, the problems with those who belong to the out-group is several. Feelings of inadequacy can occur due to not feeling they are good enough, or an erroneous belief that the person observed reasons there is nothing admirable within one's group. Feelings of betrayal can surface as an individual who sees the group member dating outside the group as being an agent of said enemy, whether the enemy is real or imagined. Commonly, this particular type of individual cannot fathom one being loyal to a struggle his people is facing because of the decisions that they have made in regards to their love interest. Normally, this is due to the drive of that individual to seek purity via genetics versus values and ideas. Why it is true that if both members of an interracial relationship has not embraced the shadow parts of themselves and has not established a deep level of trust between them, well, you will find seeds for an unhealthy relationship that is stressed more by the unique challenges presented via this coupling. Many who have had good experiences while dating in interracial relationships knows this. The psychology of those you meet, meaning those outside of your relationship, will always be a demanding foe. This they come to realize many do. For a time, you may constantly find yourself being exposed to the most slimy parts of one's personality. It is not a path for the weak of heart, this is for sure. My advice is to be even more selective than you normally would be. Do not pick your love interest or mate based on the requirements of the group you belong to. This you have to keep in the forefront of your mind. Remember, you have to die alone. Why spend your life currency trying to please others? This makes no sense. So on one hand, you will have many who will preach, be true to yourself, while simultaneously saying, be a slave to the group. Don't fall for the okie doke. No matter who you select, if you reason, if your evidence is correct, that they have a good heart, that they are consistent, willing to expand with you, have eliminated fake competition within themselves and among others. Much can be said about this, and I may address this later, and that they are forthright, not needy, value things you can respect, and comprehend the need to be genuine, giving, and respectful, then I think you will have little to worry about. Now, there will be those who will say, you are a traitor because you are not supporting the concept and practice of solidarity via romantic interest of said group. This is limited thinking and an effort to control you via guilt, amongst other things. They want you to feel a certain level of emotional discomfort that exists when you have not lived up to a responsibility, real or imagined. Personally, I would not be willing to throw that word traitor about so freely. I would deem a person a traitor if their personal self-hate issues were purposefully placed on the group in order to hold the group back or to do harm to the group directly. However, the nature of most groups, let's face it, is to demand conformity from the individual. Now, recently, the many within Black circles that I have observed while online who are willing to speak about such issues as interracial dating have been making a stink about Black men dating white women and, of course, Black women dating white men. First, I say, so what? However, let's put to rest some myths. Back in 2005, less than a decade ago, so this is truly not old research, the Pew Research Center study found the most common configuration of interracial couples was an Asian female and a white male. The second most likely ethnic group configuration to date and marry outside of their group was Mexicans and Latinos, and the third were blacks. This is only mentioned because I wanted to make sure this is a matter of record if I do share these thoughts with my audience. Now, my advice to black men who believe they may be interested in dating a white woman, or if they wish to date anybody outside of black circles. I only selected white women because that is the one that we are mostly labeled as being interested in, as if no other woman exists in this world that could possibly get our attention. And by the way, that is not an indirect put down of white women. First, I will share a little of my history. I do not engage in this stupid black gender war. It's counterproductive, and it could bring nothing but hard feelings amongst groups that are suffering from many different challenges already. This should be placed far, far, far on the back burner, and there should not be a war. There should be a healthy communication. There should be a drive to create a reason to improve oneself while contributing positively to the group. But with this said, this black gender war is a social media phenomenon. I don't see this in the real world. And if it does occur, it's only because it's going to be bleed over from the social media or the indoctrination to make those believe that it has always existed to the extent in which they would like you, they meaning anybody who would profit from you believing this crap, want you to believe. I have met some lovely black women that I have found intelligent, level-headed, and captivating. These women were well worth my time investment. I do not believe the poison commonly promoted in these wars. I have seen certain behaviors from women, generally speaking, that appears to be more a sign of the times than anything. This said, black men, when dating white women, do comprehend the historical entanglements. You can't ignore that they exist. This may make it easier if confronted by an abrasive individual who shares commonality in culture as well as our black skin. We know when our ancestors were enslaved that black women were put through a horrific reality. Being daily farmed out like domesticated bovine animals was common to increase the workforce. She, like her male counterpart, was beaten, humiliated, and subjected to sadistic whims of that animal who promoted himself as her master. Of course, the black woman observed that the reality of white women was vastly different. And today, one can say that there is a reality that is vastly different due to social economical situations as well as systemic situations that we won't get into. And this is not to make an excuse for the black woman. This is just simply stating a fact. Often she, meaning the black woman, was thought to be the very opposite, of course, than the white woman. The white woman was revered and thought to be angelic. And today, unfortunately, both black women and white women, when in interracial relationships, more than likely, especially if their partner has not done their internal work, will tend to evaluate them through the eyes of others, through the eyes of myth, versus seeing them for who they are as individuals. On top of this, and imagine this, I don't know if you've ever been around a woman who has lost a child, but it is heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking. And she had to see her sons and other men, other black men, whipped, jailed, or lynched just for looking at a white woman. After hundreds of years of this treatment, though you may have never encountered such an ordeal in your lifetime, it is still fresh in the collective consciousness. So even when that black man or woman is abrasive when they come around you, I'm not saying that you should not put them in their place if they deserve to be put in their place, but I would encourage you not to allow their behavior to affect you, and if possible, to please show compassion. Though it is illogical to feel betrayed, it is still a valid feeling that needs to be addressed by the individual suffering from this, not from you. Now, I would be remiss if I did not have words for the black woman. Like your counterpart, you need to make good decisions. However, you need to drop the bullshit. Some of you read from the template of cliches, ones that do not necessarily speak truth. Often, it is a matter of shifting blame or not looking at something on a deep level, playing into the superficial realities that makes it easy to look past something that would benefit you if you took the time to see deeper. It is a great way not to accept any responsibility for any part that you may have contributed. Infidelity, money concerns, commitment issues are not limited to men. On the flip side, black women, do not think the grass is greener on the other side. It all depends on the caliber of the man. Plus, it's not healthy. It's not healthy to engage in envy. Hopefully, if we select to be in a relationship, it will be appropriate and fulfilling. Black women, there are some truly disturbed people in the world. Believe it or not, no matter what you may hear on the social medias, no matter how many bitter people you engage, there are many good men, black and not black, that will value what you have to offer. Do not sell yourself short. All in all, what is most important is that you understand you have one life to live. You have to decide what your priorities and values are and act in accord with them. No matter what you select, we should all remember life is difficult enough. It is really unnecessary that we make it even more challenging for our fellow man. In the long run, it is injurious for both that individual and to ourselves. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thank you for listening.